it's all going to zero against Bitcoin.
It's going up forevermore.
You're against Bitcoin, you're against freedom.
Good morning, everybody. As you can see, we're a little late today, but anyways, that's besides the point. We just had Thanksgiving, guys. Holidays in the US where you gather with your family and you gorge out on a giant feast, a time for being thankful for everything you have, and a time where families get together and talk about their year, their ups and downs. And if your family's like my family, you usually talk about the state of the world. And for anyone paying attention, the world's in a very strange place right now. And the response we are seeing from the Biden administration, again, you guys know what we say here. It's not left versus right. It is orange versus green. But the amount of gaslighting we're seeing from the federal government is absolutely insane. And they have pinpointed on the fact that apparently this is the fourth cheapest Thanksgiving dinner ever. And it's just very interesting to say the least, because most of the actual numbers and the actual sentiment of people out there is that this is not exactly what is going on. The official party line is that dinner prices were cheaper. Thanksgiving is cheaper than ever. And the average everyday person is starting to feel the pain of inflation. I'm sure you guys talked about it with your family. We're seeing this start to pop up with the mainstream consciousness. We're even seeing the mainstream media literally say the opposite of what the federal government is saying. And I think that's the most interesting thing going on here, that the gaslighting is so bad that even mainstream media is saying the complete opposite of the official party line. Since, you know, at the very least, the corporate media has to have some semblance of reporting what their audience is feeling. And even they know that they just can't blatantly lie to the American population, because we are not escaping the pain of inflation. People are noticing, and the price of tomorrow is increasing if you are not on the Bitcoin standard. And it seems like now is the best time as ever for people to seek out solutions. And again, guys, I just want to emphasize, this is not about left versus right. This is about orange versus green. So yes, the Biden administration is our poster boy for this conversation. But any politician is printing money, and any politician will print money. And the solution is to save in Bitcoin. Protect yourself, because those in power only care about one thing, and that is maintaining their power. And they do that with the control of money. And they are losing that control in real time. Even their corporate media machines aren't saying the official party line. Absolutely incredible stuff we're seeing as we continue via the separation of money and state. Anyways, welcome to Simply Bitcoin. We are your number one source for the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. We cover breaking news, culture, and memetic warfare. We bring on Bitcoiners from all around the world, from the biggest names to the everyday Bitcoiner. We got them all, and we will be your guide through the separation of money and state. Before I go on, I got to bring in Sophie. I was joking with her that we need her to do an accent. So I'm not going to actually force you to do the accent. But Sophie, you killed it yesterday. I think you're more professional than Nico and I, and you can actually speak eloquently. So good to have you back. I'm excited for today's show. How are you doing this morning?
Hello, Opi. Buenos días. How are you? I have had my morning cafecito. I am having such a good day. I am feeling extra spicy, extra Latina today. Very proud to be a Venezuelan woman. I heard today is another day where the media and the government are colluding to lie to us. It smells like lies. Not the thing that grows on your hair.
Oh,
lies.
Man. It suits you so well, Sophie. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm glad we did that. All right. All right. Anyways, let's bring in a guest. We do have a guest today. Shouts out to Nunya. Apologies for the late start, guys, but we had to figure out some technical issues behind the scenes. But I think we have a great story for you guys today with Nunya. We will cover that in the culture, of course. Nunya, how are you doing this morning? Glad to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here with you guys.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. And guys, in the culture, we're going to do what you guys love to do. We're going to get into some orange pill stories about how Nunya became a Bitcoiner. We just heard a little tidbit before the show started, and I think you guys are going to enjoy this. And I feel outnumbered today. You know, they say there's not enough women in Bitcoin, but at least there's a lot of women on Simply Bitcoin. So here we go. I think you guys are going to enjoy this conversation today. And I got a lot of cover for you guys. So let's just get into this and we will get down to business.
The Bitcoin numbers.
Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Is your seed phrase really secure? Stamp Seed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you need to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates instead of just writing them on paper. Don't store your generational wealth on paper. Paper is prone to water damage, fire damage. You want to put your generational wealth on one of the strongest metals on planet Earth, titanium. Your words are actually stamped into this metal plate with this hammer and these letter stamps. And once your words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamped seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They're also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and time-proof. All things that paper is not, allowing you to hodl your Bitcoin with peace of mind for the long haul. Stamp your seed on Stamp Seed.
All right, guys, as you know, scan the QR code, get yourself a Stamp Seed kit. Make sure you don't have your seed phrase on a piece of paper in your sock drawer like every single one of you guys do until you get it on titanium. Anyways, let's get to the numbers here, guys. Of course, I start with my favorite number, which is the block height. TikTok next block. It's almost like Bitcoin works exactly as designed, and we are currently at block height of 818,880. The current Bitcoin price is, let's go, 38,195. And the sats per dollar, aka the Moscow time, aka how much Bitcoin you can buy for a single dollar, aka how much your dollar is worth in Bitcoin, is currently at 2,618 sats. And for the bits maxis out there, 261 bits. And the total percentage of Bitcoin that will ever be issued is 93.12%. Actually, I want to cover another number. Where'd it go? Oh, yeah. Oh, wait. Dang, my thing got all messed up. Look at this. The issuance remaining 1.4 million Bitcoin until 2140, guys. If you don't understand how scarce Bitcoin is, you really need to do a deeper dive. Anyways, the total market cap of Bitcoin in fiat terms is $745.9 billion. The realized monetary inflation, taking fiat currencies to school, is 1.75%. The Bitcoin versus gold market cap is 5.51%. So much room to run in the hard money game. And the total public Lightning capacity is currently at 5,326.3 BTC. The hash rate's been going absolutely crazy. If you've been watching the hash rate recently, it's absolutely nuts what's going on. It really does feel like there's a hash race going on right now. The last 90 days is currently at 440 exahashes. The pending fees, wow, mempool. At least this one that Clark Moody is plugged into is going crazy. 15.3 BTC. Seems like the ordinal wizards are having some fun on the blockchain, and we are all paying more fees for it. Anyways, the block still having is 21,120,000 blocks. And as of now, we are not going to hit the meme date. We are estimate to have the halving April 19th, 2024. All right, guys. So I want to get into what we're seeing coming out from the federal government. As you can see, Nico tweeted this, what was this? Yesterday in the evening. And he goes, they're just straight up telling you not to believe you are getting poorer. This is where we are in the story. The gaslighting coming from the federal government is at all-time highs. And it really reminds me, and I hate to be the cliche Bitcoiner that quotes this every single time this type of stuff happens. It is literally from Orwell's 1984. Do not believe your eyes and ears. Just follow the party line. And this is where we are. But what's interesting here is that even though we're seeing this Soviet level propaganda coming out from the United States federal government, the mainstream media is not even going along with it. That's how bad it's getting, that the mainstream media understands that they cannot just continue to blatantly lie to their audience because we are all feeling the pain. And of course, guys, we know Simply Bitcoin is global. We know that not every single one of you guys is American, but this is happening everywhere. And I know we are American-centric. We live in America. This is our country. This just goes to show that things are changing in real time. The dollar is losing its world reserve currency, and we know that the power comes from the money printer. And here we see just constantly being gaslit by the federal government. We saw last week about, I forget what her name is, like Jean Pierre something, telling us that Thanksgiving dinner is cheaper. Well, I got a little clip here for you guys. Let's first hear what Biden said, and then I want to get into the fact that mainstream media is saying the complete opposite. And it's almost like I thought they were in bed together. I thought the mainstream media was corporate press. Well, now even their narrative has become non-existent. They're not even tethered to the same reality here. So let's look at this clip. I clipped it together for you guys. So there is a beginning of this clip that Nico posted of Joe Biden. And then we have a little, maybe it's a meme at the end of it, or maybe this is just reality and we don't know what's what anymore. So check this out, guys.
Well, this past week, as Americans gathered around their own kitchen tables for Thanksgiving dinner, that was our goal, to give them a little more breathing room. And together, we made progress. From turkey to air travel to tank of gas, costs went down. They went down. Now, to people making a lot of money, that doesn't matter a whole lot because the costs are relatively small compared to wealthy incomes. In fact, as a share of earnings this Thanksgiving, dinner was the 4th cheapest ever on record. I want you all to know that. I look at all the press, look at that. Press is particularly excited about that, I can see.
Wow. Oh, man. I didn't...
The body language is just crazy. He's like, this is the cheapest it's ever been. Yes, it's the cheapest. They're literally laughing at us in our faces.
Incredible. Yeah, us guys, I did clip one together, but apparently I put the wrong one up here. Let me pull this up real quick and you guys can see the meme at the end of this, because I think this is the most important aspect of this, is that the mainstream media is literally not even following the party line anymore. And here, I have the numbers here. This is the official CPI numbers from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. As you guys can see, all items allegedly is 3.2% inflation. Food is 3.3% inflation. Energy is down at negative 4.5 inflation. And all items minus food and energy is an up 4.7 or 4.0% inflation. But check this out, guys. Here's this little clip here that is a meme that I guess I put the wrong one up here. But look at this. Even the mainstream media is saying the complete opposite of what the federal government is saying.
Even the
holiday season, families are seeing lower prices on everyday items from gas to groceries.
Since 2019, that'd be just before the pandemic, the price of Thanksgiving dinner has shot up 25%.
In fact, as a share of earnings this Thanksgiving, dinner was the 4th cheapest ever on record. I want you all to know that.
At the grocery store, shoppers continue to grapple with stubborn inflation. Canned cranberries cost 60% more. Canned pumpkin prices have spiked 30%. And russet potatoes are up 14%.
Incredible. Sophie, you were going to say something before I cut you off.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. Even the Bureau of Labor Statistics debunks this. When Karine Jean-Pierre went on and did this press release and they tweeted about it, she actually got community noted with the Bureau of Labor Statistics.gov statistics.
Oh man.
Like, you can't make this up. They fund their own statistics and then they tell you something completely different. It's incredible.
It's incredible. And look at here, guys. We got this Bloomberg article here. And again, I think the crazy part is the divide between the corporate press and the federal government. And this headline here is just how bad is the U.S. cost of living squeeze. We did the math. Here's Bloomberg, dropped last night. And it goes, after years of inflation, U.S. consumers are shouldering a burden unlike anything seen in decades. Even as the pace of prices increases has slowed, it now requires 119.27 cents to buy the same goods and services a family could afford with $100 before the pandemic. Since early 2020, prices have risen about as much as they had in the full 10 years preceding the health emergency. It's hard to find an area of a household budget that's been spared. Groceries are up 25% since January 2020. Same with electricity. Used car prices have climbed 35%, auto insurance 33%, and rents roughly 20%. Those figures help explain why America continues to register strong dissatisfaction with the economy. Consumers' daily routines have largely returned to their pre-pandemic normal, but the cost of living has not. And the government data reports that show easing inflation are cold comfort because they simply indicate prices are growing at a slower pace, not that they are returning to early 2020 levels. As we always say here, just because you're getting fat at a slower pace doesn't neglect the fact that you are getting fatter. And this is what the numbers are being shown in regards to inflation. And the federal government keeps coming out and saying like, hey guys, don't worry about it. You're not getting poor. I'm telling you, you're getting poor at a slower pace than you were last year. And everyone's like, it doesn't matter. I'm still getting poor. And here I am. I'm using shadowstats.com. And you can see, at least from Shadow Stats numbers, the true inflation. And this is top chart here is based on the 1990 metrics. And you can see, technically the CPI numbers around like 4%. Well, based on 1990 metrics, it is double that at 8%. Or roughly around there. And going further back, based on 1980 metrics, it's even higher. It's close to what, like 12, maybe 15%. So I think it's something we say here constantly on the show is you cannot hide the sticker shock of inflation. And again, as Sophie mentioned, Jean-Pierre being community noted by their own metrics. Well, look, I'm over here on Fred, stlouisfed.org, and one of my favorite charts, and it just goes to show, and I was going to use priced in Bitcoin 21.com, but apparently the site's down this morning. They're having some issues. So even better, I will use the Fed's own numbers to show that life is cheaper on a Bitcoin standard. And for those audio listeners, I'm over here on average price for eggs, but priced in Bitcoin. And even if we zoom in here, we'll zoom in. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's zoom into 2020-ish. And life is cheaper on a Bitcoin standard. Hence why we always tell you the only way you can protect yourself is by getting on a Bitcoin standard. If you are saving in fiat terms, you are getting poorer. This is the facts of the matter. And if you've been saving in Bitcoin for a long-term strategy, life gets significantly cheaper. And this is what we try to tell everyone on the show constantly, is that you cannot save in fiat. You cannot hold dollars. You cannot survive on dollars because they are constantly debasing your money. They're going to continue to print money. They can continue to inflate the money supply. The only way to protect yourself is getting on the Bitcoin standard. Guys, it's very simple. Again, this is not a debate of left versus right. It is orange versus green. And inflation is so bad that even mainstream media cannot continue to gaslight and lie to their audience. Yes, the federal government is completely lost in their sauce, completely detached from reality, and they're going to say whatever they want to say to gaslight the average individual that doesn't have enough time to look into the numbers. But this is why we do what we do on the show, is so that we can constantly rebuttal the lies, constantly rebuttal the propaganda. You are getting poorer. And this is what most people don't understand living day to day. My friends and my family don't understand it because, $1 seems to be $1. A dollar seems to be stable. But until you get on the Bitcoin standard, you don't see that there is cracks in the system. You can't see behind the veil. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Anyway, so you were chiming in. What's your thoughts on all this?
My thoughts are that these people are slowly losing the plot and people are waking up. People are finally realizing that they cannot control and contain this narrative. People are starting to finally believe their eyes and ears. They're starting to believe their lived experience, and they're starting to say, hey, maybe it's not me. There was also another chart that the Biden administration released where this is the administration that has created the most amount of jobs. Gee, I wonder why. Because you need 1, 2 jobs, maybe a side hustle to survive in this economy. There has literally been no worse time except for maybe the Great Depression. And even that's debatable because I've seen content creators debunk how like this is, the Great Depression. You were in better times. If you do the inflation calculation of how much it used to cost to buy a house versus how much your income was compared to today, you will see that these numbers are completely different. We really are in dire economic times. And the only way to have some hope for the future is to store your wealth in the hardest money that has ever lived. And this is why this is our mission. This is why we talk about Bitcoin. This is why we advocate for self-custody, because it's not just an investment and number go up technology. It's not just going to make you wealthy in the process. You are also going to protest the biggest schemers and thieves in the world right now. And that's what we all have to do. We all have to work together to work against them.
Couldn't agree more. Nanya, what's your thoughts on the gaslighting about inflation?
Well, we've been lied to for a very long time that I think people don't even, so many people lost even their sense of judging things for themselves. Like that was, I think, their idea of brainwashing people into not being able to think for themselves. That's most of these data that we see that they publish with straight face to people are just lies. It's as a business owner, I can tell you, I've never worked for anybody my entire life. I've always had my own businesses. And I can tell you that we've been losing power every day. I can see it in my business. I can see it in my friend's business. I can see it in people's everyday lives. And the fact that we're getting fed every day by a bunch of lies that has nothing to do with the actual data should tell you what you need and who you can trust. These people in the government are not trustable. You can't trust them at all. What they say, what they do, and the fact that some people still think that they care about them or they're there to serve them. I'm like, what are you looking at? Because what I'm looking at is just, it's a dire need of a huge change in the system, because things are not getting better. Things are getting worse. And the system is completely excluding people from the equation. It's like you're not even a part of anything anymore. The decisions are getting made somewhere else, and you're being treated like just a viewer. You're like, people are just the audience for them that lost their entire power, and they're just sitting and watching them ruining and destroying their lives every day. Like the dollars keep losing purchasing power every day. You can see it in your everyday life. You don't need Biden to come up and tell you how bad or good things are. You can feel it. You can see it. You have the power of judging it for yourself. And people are being treated like a bunch of nobodies, and it's very insulting to me. I think I moved here in 2012, and by 2016, I was done. I was like, this is not what I thought the US is. I moved here from Iran in 2012, and everything was just a big lie to my face. And if you just take a few step back and just look at the whole picture, you're just like, oh my God, this whole thing is a lie. And for you to not take a step and just think for yourself about what you can do to change things, it's just beyond me. I couldn't not think about things, and I couldn't just go about life watching how things are just declining, and how economy is declining, how the culture is declining, how in every possible way they are insulting people and people's intelligence by just lying and passing all those laws and rules and regulations that are basically destroying people's lives every day instead of helping them improve. So for me, Bitcoin was just a phenomena that when I discovered it, I was like, oh my God. So there is things. It's just, I always say, if Bitcoin was a song, it would have been a Beatles song that says, come together right now over me. Because I think that's the only thing that we have, the only asset that we have, that we could have it all for ourselves as a global community, and just help each other grow and help each other have a good, beautiful sense of an abundance that we were given as human beings on Earth. But because of everything and all these politicians and bad lawmakings and greed that we see every day in the entire system, unfortunately, like spreading like a cancer, um, we haven't been, we haven't been able to see how much power we have. And I think that's what Bitcoin gives back to us, the power of coming together as a community, have a little bit of this, you know, um, um, fantastic abundance making technology for each of us, and just um, live a free life finally. I think I'm just so happy to be living in this time.
I couldn't agree more. And to your point, it blows my mind all the time when we're watching stuff like this come out from the corporate press or from the federal government, that people still seem to have a sense of legitimacy to the politicians and the bankers and all this, just because they're wearing suits, just because, you know, they're trusting the experts, they have PhDs and all this stuff. And it
Stage right there.
yeah, it blows my mind.
Yeah.
It really, it's almost hard to believe that people still take this seriously, especially when all my friends are Bitcoiners and, you know, all we do is we talk about this constantly. And then I go out and I'll talk to like my parents or my friends that aren't necessarily Bitcoiners. And it's just like we're living in two totally different worlds, and it couldn't be clearer.
But that's the key right there, Opti. What you just said, that's the reason why. For us, it's hard to believe because we grew up in the information age. We grew up with the internet. We grew up with the disintermediation of information. The government has been working on this psyop for such a long time, since the moment that television was was put in everybody's household, since the mass adoption of TV and the mass adoption of like institutional news. There has been this credibility in the institutions and in the media that for the longest time, for over 50 years, people have believed what the media has told them. So it's not really a surprise when you grow up your entire life thinking that what the media has told you has been real and you haven't been able to verify it for yourself. This is the first time in our lives, in the history of humanity, where we have not only been able to decentralize information, but we've also been able to verify it on an individual level through video, through photo, through, you know, checking, like seeing actual proof. Like even on a court system, you weren't able to prove that someone was guilty or innocent with DNA evidence until like the 80s or something like that. So imagine what it's like with something as subjective as information, when it can be subjective and when it can be shaped as a narrative by the people in charge.
Yeah, you reminded me of that one quote that's like, give me 60 years and I will basically be able to indoctrinate your children and your children's children. And here we are, guys. This is why it's so hard to unplug people from the matrix, from the fiat scam. It really reminds me of like fish swimming in water. You don't know you're in water until you finally pop out and you're in air and you're like, oh my God, it's really this bad. And I just really believe that this is why Bitcoin will win, is because people, once they see it, they can't unsee it and they're not going to go back. Anyways, guys, before we move into the news, I want to do a shout out to our boys over at Bitcoin Magazine, hosting the Bitcoin conference this year in Tennessee. We're taking over Nashville, July 25th to 27th in 2024. Guys, get your ticket today. This is the cheapest the tickets will be. I know you guys are going to FOMO into the conference. You're going to yell at us when they raise the prices on you. You guys know this is coming. So use the promo code Simply. You can get a discount, and I hope to see you guys in Nashville. I haven't been to Nashville yet, but I hear it is starting to become a hub for Bitcoiners. Anyways, guys, let's get into the news for today.
The Daily News.
I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Foundation Devices. It's self-custody done right. They built a premium grade hardware wallet called Passport right here in the US. It's fully open source and verifiable. It's the most intuitive Bitcoin wallet designed with a UX reminiscent of a simple feature phone. So you will know how to navigate it and use it the moment you pick it up. Get your Bitcoin off exchanges and into your own hands in just a few minutes. Experience the peace of mind that comes with taking ownership of your own keys. After a massive sellout during Bitcoin Miami 2023, the Passport is back in stock at foundationdevices.com. Bitcoin only, open source verifiable, completely air gap security model, gorgeous design craft, premium grade materials. If you're thinking about getting your Bitcoin off exchanges, this is the one for you. Check out the Passport link in the show notes below to learn more.
Guys, don't think about getting your Bitcoin off exchanges. Get it off in exchange. It looks like a Nokia, fully open source. It's pretty, guys. You want to get yourself one. As Sophie said, these are the prettiest hardware wallets. I just like them. They're super dope. Shouts out to my boy Shishi for orange pilling or Foundation Passport pilling me. Anyways, guys, let's get to this news story. So I saw this article from Financial Times. We didn't have time to cover it last week, but I think it's very, very interesting what's going on and really connect this with what we're seeing coming out from the numbers today. You know, we're seeing what the federal government's doing in gaslighting us about inflation. And remember what we've been seeing coming out from the bureaucrats like Elizabeth Warren. We saw FinCEN proposals. We're seeing that, the SEC, the DOJ, the U.S. Treasury has basically cleared out Binance so that maybe the professionals can come in and clean up the quote unquote crypto space. And we saw this article on Financial Times, and I really think it's one of those moments where they are saying the quiet part out loud. And don't get mistaken here, guys, because I think that the CCP, China, yuan angle, the fear angle, I think is noise. What really is the signal here is that the powers understand the game being played, that they are losing control with the dollar. They're losing not only control of the dollar, but they are losing the control that the dollar has on the world, as the dollar has been the world reserve currency for the last roughly 100 years. And now they are scrambling. And of course, they always think there's going to be a political solution. We've heard the rumors and the rumblings that, oh yeah, the dollar may be losing control, but we're going to roll out a CBDC and this is going to fix it. It's going to lead us into the new world. It's going to update our financial system. Well, let's get into this article. And I'm not going to read the whole article, but I'm going to read some of it because I think there's some good points here, and it really is saying the quiet part out loud here. So, headline from Financial Times: the U.S. dollar dominance is facing a crypto yuan hostile takeover. A new challenger is approaching. It's no surprise that the U.S. Treasury, whose remit includes combating threats to the dollar and protecting the integrity of the financial system, is warning Congress that the dollar-based digital instruments, stablecoins, and crypto exchanges pose significant risk. But risk to who? And again, guys, they always use the same excuse, AML, financing terrorism, risk to national security. Well, of course, they're going to always continue to do this as long as it works. So crypto dollars, aka stable coins, won't collapse the world financial system, but they could disrupt the cozy greenback-based settlement system. Preeminence of the dollar as the currency of choice for contractual settlements, coupled with the depth and sophistication of U.S. capital markets, has enabled the U.S. and other Western governments to police bad actors, emphasis on that, by imposing economic sanctions on people they don't much like. Unfortunately for the U.S. and its allies, as events currently unfolding in Hong Kong accelerate, CCP-controlled crypto stablecoins and related exchange transfer platforms will eviscerate this prerogative. The best new money is here: digital dollar stablecoins and other tokenized crypto pseudocurrencies. Unlike the old dollar, easily regulated, tracked, and tethered to Washington, D.C., offshore crypto transfer systems operate outside the extant global regulatory net. They're effectively stateless. Dollar cryptos are, of course, not currencies at all. They're simply components of an alternative money transfer system akin to Western Union, Fedwire, or SWIFT, and FedNow, but without disclosure or regulation. They are risky assets because there's no underlying collateral. Essentially, they're unsecured obligations of the issuer of the token. For the most part, offshore crypto exchanges require no regulatory collateral. Large-scale acceptance of crypto tokens can provide a robust settlement mechanism for legitimate economic activities, but they really shine as tools for illegitimate activities, letting all manner of criminals conduct business in dollars while bypassing the oversight mechanisms of the Federal Reserve, the CFTC, the SEC, the IRS, and banks subject to American regulation. Threats to the current order are being rendered operational by the Hong Kong-based crypto companies and exchanges with direct ties to the CCP. Implicit control over a system of crypto token exchanges, clearing systems, and custody mechanisms would offer the CCP a lot of information and bang for the buck. Infusions of Chinese government resources could expand the capitalization of Hong Kong crypto exchanges, making it a center for crypto tokens. For the U.S. and Western institutions more generally, there's enormous risk in the possibility that the CCP will be successful in establishing Hong Kong as a hub for global trading and clearing of crypto. Before I go on, remember when we heard in the past, I think it was like about a month ago, that Hong Kong was trying to make themselves a hub for crypto at large. And we had a guest on an IRL who said that they know exactly what they're doing. And we were wondering then, we were speculating whether China at large, they do have the two countries, one China policy. And we were wondering whether they were using Hong Kong as basically like their experiment. They're using it as, you know, like, okay, we're gonna let Hong Kong do this, but we here in China, we don't like cryptos. And then we heard that, yeah, they know what they're doing. They're not going to say Bitcoin. They're using crypto, so that it's kind of a broad statement. And here we're seeing the Financial Times basically say the same thing. Hong Kong-based digital instruments and exchanges will be opaque to the outside world, with disclosure exclusively provided to Chinese authorities. All others will find them impossible to monitor, much less tax or control via domestic sanctions actions. Western notions of a rule of law and the institutional scaffolding of modern capitalism, imperfect as it might be, will be absent. What's more, the Chinese government issues its own CBDC, a digital yuan, giving it better visibility and granular control of those funds. We've been saying that forever, and they're even quoting the Human Rights Foundation, says, according to the Human Rights Foundation, implications for human rights are significant. Paper cash can transact outside of the oversight of a totalitarian regime. CBDCs are tools of surveillance and social engineering. Love to see that signal is getting out here. And just to conclude this and wrap this portion of the Financial Times up, the emergence of an opaque, unregulated, offshore dollar-denominated transfer mechanism is directly counter to U.S. interests. It's up to the U.S. to offer an alternative or to define what constitutes acceptable compliance. It doesn't look like much today, but the Hong Kong-based crypto dollar and dollar-based offshore transfer systems are like U.S. national debt. Don't matter until they do. As Hemingway might have put it, and you love to hear this sentence, guys, because they're using our memes in Financial Times. Crypto adoption and facilitation driven by the CCP may well happen gradually, but suddenly it could become a new standard. It's our meme world and everyone else is just living in it. By then, the old dollar and incumbent global settlement system will have escaped U.S. control for good. Now, Kate Long tweeted this, and it's what we've been saying all the time. The quiet part out loud. They're rightly worried about Hong Kong via USD stablecoins becoming a hub for US dollar clearing that's outside US's reach, while the US dithers, but it's not just Hong Kong. And she mentions, obviously, fast path for Malay and the dollarize of Argentina via a USD stablecoin. Now, look, I am not a stablecoins fan. I actively, literally dislike stablecoins. I think Bitcoin is my stablecoin, but this makes you really wonder. And again, this might be noise if you're just reading the article, but we want to connect the dots here. And what we've been seeing the last couple of months, I have, the infamous Elizabeth Warren bill here, the Anti-Money Laundering Act. And when you read what they're saying in their own publications about the fear of pushing crypto offshore, of losing world reserve currencies, of what's happening in BRICS, about people all around the world dropping treasuries, you start to remember the quote from Christine Lagarde: if there's an exit route, people will use it. And first, people need to feel the pain. And now we're seeing that everyone around the world that is understanding how the financial world is working understands what is going on. The dollar is losing its world reserve currency status. The US, the federal government, has overstepped their bound, and now everyone is looking for an alternative. And if you are still, like we were talking about in the numbers, regurgitating the party lines of the corporate press or the federal government, you may not get yourself in a position to save yourself. And again, bringing up the FinCEN proposals for new regulation to enhance transparency and convertible virtual currency mixing and combat terrorist financing, you start to see a pattern here. They're going to constantly use the threat of national security. We're here to help you, little guy. You know, we're here to help retail. But in reality, what they're trying to do is protect themselves. And connecting this all together, because we are talking about offshore, pushing Bitcoin offshore, we did get the biggest settlement in regards to Binance. And I'm hearing some crazy rumors about who is going to get into control over at Binance. And it really just goes into the other rumors we're hearing that basically they had to clear out Binance so that the professionals like BlackRock and, you know, all the ETFs can come in. We're the real professionals. We're wearing our suits, and you can trust us, guys. We're not going to rehypothecate your Bitcoin. Just trust us. Let's consolidate all the Bitcoin into our hands because we're the professionals and we know what we're doing. And it really just goes to show that the dollar is in decline. And remember, the world reserve currency status don't live for too long. It's roughly around 100 years. And we are at that mark, guys. The US dollar is in decline. We are losing that control around the world. And those in power, I don't believe that they are naive anymore. I think they're doing their best to gaslight the average individual out there into believing that everything is fine. And again, we have incredible levels of propaganda coming out from the federal government, from the corporate press. And the dollar and rather America at large is not very much liked around the world. No one wants our treasuries. They're dumping our treasuries. No one wants to interact with the petrodollar. And yet people are coming out and saying that, oh, yeah, CBDC is going to fix this. A stablecoin is going to fix this. And I'm just here to tell you guys that no, it is Bitcoin. It will always be Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the only way out of this. And again, it's not left versus right. It's orange versus green. And the only way out of this is to use Bitcoin. We are seeing a move away from the dollar. And as an American, or rather anyone around the world, you do not want to get caught holding dollars. And we know that Argentina is kind of moving towards a dollar move, which I think would be a mistake. But currency competitions happening in real time is like the new name of the game. People do not want to hold treasuries. People do not want to hold dollars. They are looking for other assets. They're looking for alternatives. And of course, the alternative is Bitcoin. And all roads lead to Bitcoin. So here we are. More signs that there's cracks in the system, more signs that people do not want to hold dollars. And the powers that be know this. So they're going to try to push us into a CBDC. They're going to try to gaslight you into holding stable coins. But you should know that you need to opt out, opt into Bitcoin, save in Bitcoin, download Bitcoin wallets, take your Bitcoin off exchanges. This is the only way to protect yourself. I'm fully convinced of this. And you need to do this now before you actually need it. Anyways, I'd like to go to Nanya first. What's your thoughts on all this stuff, considering that you said you moved here from Iran?
Yeah. As I said, I've been done with everything since 2016. I think it was after what they did to Bernie Sanders. We were huge, me and my ex, we were huge supporting Bernie Sanders because everything he was saying was making sense. But then after we saw how they just got rid of him and used him as a scapegoat to push everybody towards voting for Hillary, and this whole shebang happened, we were like done. That's why we moved to Bali in 2017 and built our company called Novotan Studios, which it was me and my ex's company. And that was when we started to, get it. We got introduced to Bitcoin, and that was it, because we were just so fed up with everything that was going on and all the lies and this picture that was getting shattered right in front of our eyes. That it just, all of that made so much sense, because we could see the dollar is losing power because of all the money printing for bullshit wars that they were just trying to justify it right in front of our faces. lying to us like a day and night about how great things are. What you could see in everyday life, how bad things are getting. So we just got into educating ourselves more and more about how we can get out of the system, how we could, because we were done. That's why we moved. We had to get rid of most of our overheads. That's why we're just like, we're out. And we exited the system, and I'm so happy that we did, because once you step back and you just leave and see the rest of the world and see how everybody else is looking at the picture and how everybody else is looking at the Americans and what's going on in America, you're like, okay, so now I know what I was feeling was actually true. And for me, because I lived in other countries before I came to the US, I lived in Kuala Lumpur, especially for like 2 years. I could see most of Americans or foreigners, they were living out of America, making dollar. They were living abroad, making dollar, but spending rupiah, because or ringgit, which was their currency, because of the difference in the value, the ratio of that the ringgit to dollar, that would worth more. Why? Because you couldn't actually, get anywhere with the dollar and the spending dollar, earning dollar and the spending dollar inside the US. So that was a picture. Let's say I knew since I was in Kuala Lumpur in 2009. So by the time when I got here in 2012, I had some idea, but then in 2016 we were just done. And it's because the system has been failing people for a long time. But unfortunately, so many people in the US, I have come to discover that they play in this play pretend, to just say everything is fine and I'm doing it. No, they got into this competition of keeping everything look okay and look good, where inside they're crumbling, and they're getting really into this fight of, how am I gonna get to the next day, how am I gonna go to the work, how am I gonna make ends meet. So for me, basically, and for my family, I've been out of this game for a long time, and thanks to Bitcoin, I think I just saw the only glimpse of hope that we could just finally have our sovereignty back and have some freedom back to ourselves, because it's just the whole system is so suffocating. It's so controlled and manipulated in so many ways, that if you educate yourself about Bitcoin and just dive into it a little bit deeper and learn it, you could you would understand how much freedom you can bring back to your life, and what a huge gift you can give to your children and the next generation, and how lucky we are that we're living these times, that we could, just by doing a little bit of research and educating ourselves, detach from the system of lies and system of manipulation and control by the governments, and connect with a real abundant system that can gift you back the freedom that you lost, which I think the financial freedom is one of the most important things that everybody is looking for these days. And by just educating themselves a little bit, just dive in, read the Bitcoin white paper, just understand how the system works, understand what is the online protocol that everybody's talking about it, and we are so fascinated about it. just understand that. Forget about what Bitcoin is and how much money. Forget. Let's just not even talking about that. This beautiful abundance creating, wealth creating system has grown over 7 million% since 2009. Just let's forget about that. Just let's dive in and just learn and educate ourselves and figure out what that thing is, because once you figure it out, you become so fascinated about it that you just and then you just elevate to the next level, that when you look at these politicians talking about the old fiat dead system, and them trying to claim that everything is right and everything is working and everything is perfect and they care about people, you just like, no, you don't. No, you don't care about people. You just care about your own profit. Because if you did care about people, you would make education about this new technology so easy to achieve for everybody. So spread all throughout the globe, so people can get educated and set themselves free from this old financial slavery that they set, not only for Americans. It's every other currency somehow is pegged to the dollar. So by dollar going down, every other currency is going up. But the difference is those currencies are going faster than dollar. Dollar is still being used as a safe haven to some countries, let's say even for Argentina. When I hear Milei is talking about that they're going to jump on, drop their currency and jump on dollar, it's just a very short-term remedy for a dying system, for a system that is dead already to a system that is dying. So it slows down the death, but in the end, it's another death. So I don't know anything. I don't believe there is any better system than blockchain and Bitcoin system to bring back sovereignty and financial freedom to people. I don't think there is any.
There is no alternative. Hold on. Someone said air horns incoming. All right. So
I wanted to do it earlier. But I was like, let her cook. Yo, that Financial Times article, it made me feel like I was on the Disney ride, the teacups where they're just circling and circling and circling to make you dizzy, and they're just going all around the middle without really saying anything. It's like they're painting the problem, they're painting the scenario, but it's like, what could be the solution to all of this? And they're saying crypto's backed by nothing. It's like they're really trying to not understand how Bitcoin works, and they're trying to further the narrative that is convenient to them, that it's backed by nothing, to further the stereotype that this internet money is just a scam, when really they're gaslighting you and they're the ones that are scamming you. And they want this power over the money and over the narrative, because if they don't have the power over the money, they have no power over other countries. They're not able to financially go to war with other countries like Iran, like Venezuela, and they're not able to place sanctions on people. Without being able to place sanctions on people, the United States loses a foothold of their position as the #1 country in the world, supposedly. And that article just shows how they can't justify it. They can't justify the fact that they're supposedly the #1 country in the world because of the dollar, when the dollar is like Nanya said, it's a road leading to death. It's going to die. At some point, everybody is going to realize that this is something that is backed by nothing, that you can just print more of it by hitting a button on a keyboard. And when people justify, when people realize that, they won't be able to justify it with lies any longer. They won't be able to control the narrative. And so they try to keep you dizzy, and they try to keep circling the middle so that you don't have to realize, and you can feel safe and not have to go through the inconvenience of opting out. But the reality is that the inconvenience that you feel right now is going to be so much less than the suffering that you will endure if you stay in this system. The dollar is already dead. Thank you, Roman. That is absolutely true. It's backed by violence, it's backed by military, and it's backed by corrupt politicians who can literally make money for free that you have to work for. Nico says this all the time. And slowly people will realize it. Slowly people, like I said earlier, will believe their eyes and ears, and it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, so if I think you hit the nail on the head, and that's the point of the article that I wanted to bring upon everyone here, is like, they're saying the quiet part out loud, that they are losing control. They want control, and they're trying to corral us into something that they can fully control. And if you aren't aware of this, and you can't really, wade through the nuance, you might be like, oh yeah, this makes a lot of sense. This is exactly the reason why we need to stop Bitcoin. They're all just financial criminals. They're all just trying to skirt sanctions. They're all just laundering money. And it's like, no, this is the low-hanging excuse that I say all the time that will be used to try to shoot Bitcoin in the knees. Hence why we tell you guys constantly, it's about taking Bitcoin into custody. It's about owning your own money, writing down seed phrase that you control. Do not trust the middlemen. You do not have to anymore. These people do not have your best interest in mind. They only care about power. Anyways, before we get into the culture, and I think we're going to really enjoy the culture. Shouts out to the boys over at Kaboom Racks. They're, in my opinion, they're top tier. They're probably the best when it comes to getting into Bitcoin mining. They will set you straight. If you want to buy ASICs, if you want to sell your old ASICs, if you want to host your ASICs with Kaboom Racks, get in touch with the boys at Kaboom Racks. Jump in their Telegram group, t.me/Kaboom Racks. Get in touch with Alex. He will walk you through why you should or maybe should not buy some ASICs. They are the GOATs. And also, if you have some ASICs and you haven't downloaded their firmware, I would highly suggest you do that. But let's get into the culture today, guys.
The Daily Culture.
Brought to you by SwanBitcoin.com. Swan is the best way to build your Bitcoin stack with automated Bitcoin savings plans and instant purchases, serving clients of any size from $10 to $10 million. We love Swan because they incentivize self-custody and dollar cost averaging. What are you waiting for? Visit SwanBitcoin.com today.
Okay, Nanya. This is the point when we feature our guest, and you kind of told us your orange pill story before the show. We kind of heard it a little bit on the show, but maybe we can start back in. How did you become a Bitcoiner, and when did your eyes open up to the fact that Bitcoin is the solution?
I think it was back in 2017 when we, kind of figured out what Bitcoin is. And of course, we had our own doubts, and we couldn't believe that anything could conquer or challenge the US dollar, big, huge hegemony. And then I had so much doubt. I am, by culture, I'm a skeptical person. I'm an entrepreneur. And it's not easy to convince me of something. It has to make real sense. And I tell you that my ex had a really hard time to figure out a way to kind of make Bitcoin make sense to me. But the moment that it finally registered to me that what that thing is was when he had this beautiful analogy and the beautiful vision and picture. He created that in front of my eyes so I could actually understand what he was saying, because he would try and I couldn't get it. And he said, what he said was, just imagine if there is one um, painting, Van Gogh's painting right in front of you. And if they break it into 21 million, and they could give it to each piece of it could be given to each individual, and it's a collective item, and it's and it's beautiful, and it's always going to be valuable. Wouldn't you want to have a piece of it? Wouldn't you want to have one of those 21 millions, let's say? And I never forget that it was right before my birthday in 2017. And back then you could actually buy Bitcoin on your credit card. And that's what I did. I bought my first Bitcoin. It was right before my birthday in 2017. It was, I believe it was like 1,800. And I bought it on my credit card and from a company in Malta. And we just and I received it. And then the very next day it went down to 1,600. I was like, oh my God, what have I done? And but I got convinced first. Then I got into it, not because of the story of how much money that thing can make for us, because we were already in our rebellious path. We've been fighting. If you search our names, we were canvassing for Bernie Sanders. We were just trying to wake people up to what the system is doing and how things are, all the laws and regulations are set to destroy your lives day after day. And once I figured what that thing is and how much power it can bring back to our own lives with just simply being a contribute. I mean, it was a contribution for me, from us, to this beautiful wealth creating sovereign asset that you could just be a part of. And I think human beings wanted to be a part of something, and I always wanted to be a part of a beautiful story that in the end will bring in a beautiful change to so many people's lives. And it has brought change to our lives. And I can tell you, if you just figure it out, just educate yourself a little bit more about it, instead of just thinking about, oh, this is a gamble thing. It's a gamble. It's not gambling. What you're doing with dollar is a gamble. Just sticking to something that is dying, to me, is a gamble. And I'm not a gambler. I never gambled in Vegas. I'm not into gambling anything. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 18. And as I told you, always had my own businesses, and I never worked for anybody in my entire life. And I lived well, and I am living well. And it's not because of Bitcoin, but Bitcoin has been a big, huge part of it. But why I say that is because people think, oh, these Bitcoiners are just a bunch of dreamers, and they think they know everything, and they think they can conquer this system, and they just don't know what they're talking about, and they're wishy-washers. No, we're not. We're actually a bunch of people that we really believe in we can fight the system, and we are putting it to work with investing in it and contributing a little bit of what we make into a system of we know for the fact could open up a path for everybody. It's just not for Americans. It's a global asset. Everybody can have access to it, and everybody can be a part of it, and bring in the change that we always talk about, but we never actually step forward to do anything about it. So guess what? Somebody from the future had done it for you. How about be a part of it? How about just educate yourself about it? How about just get to know it and see what this thing is about, what this creation, I believe it's the 21st century's best invention. Bitcoin is 21st century's the best invention. And if you live in this time and you still don't know anything about it, and you're just joking about it and just looking at people that being a part of it and believed in it, and you haven't educated yourself about it yet, you're missing on not only the best opportunity that could of your lifetime, let's say, you're missing on understanding one of the best inventions of the 21st centuries. So I don't think that sounds smart to be or to do. So I just encourage everybody who's watching this to just, I'm not going to tell you buy a full Bitcoin. The great thing is you don't have to. You could just buy 50
Yep.
bucks. Don't go to that dinner. Just buy $50 of that. Just be a part of something greater than at the moment than everything else. To me, that's how it is.
Love it. So much to unpack there. But first and foremost, I want to also comment on the idea. Like, I don't like to gamble either. I literally, I don't gamble at all. And I always feel like a little, I don't know, tinge of disrespect when everyone's just like, oh, you're just speculating and gambling on Bitcoin. I'm like, I don't like to gamble. To me, this is a sure bet. Like, this is exactly the stability. But anyway,
this is the most conservative
yes,
bet that you could ever make in your life. It's the hardest asset there is, and it's basic math and economics. It's infinity divided by 21 million. It's the scarcest asset in the world, not controlled by human beings. It has eliminated the human error and the proclivity for humans to want to take over control and to take control of the money supply. So eliminate that. Eliminate those incentives and apply math into it, and you have literally the most conservative money that there ever was. And you're absolutely right. I go and I interview people every single week on the street. And one of the biggest responses that I get when I tell them, hey, can I interview you for our YouTube channel? We're a Bitcoin YouTube channel. I don't know anything about Bitcoin. I don't know anything about Bitcoin. It's like, people are so close-minded to it, and they're so accepting of the propaganda that they don't realize that Bitcoin is, first of all, the best performing asset year to date, and it's the best performing asset probably ever. I think, I'm pretty sure ever. I know that's like a huge statement, but I think it's outpaced real estate. It's outpaced the S&P 500. It's outpaced like all currencies. So then people still call it a gamble because it's volatile, but they don't have a long time preference mentality. People are so used to having everything quick, everything like at the in kind of like this short-term sugar high sort of way. They're not used to sitting and waiting and saving their money, because this fiat standard incentivizes debt. It incentivizes spending. And, you know, it's about changing the culture. And it really is about telling people to take a second and learn about it.
Yeah, I think I think the most important thing here is to just education is everything here. That's what Bitcoin is about. Education. You got to learn and educate it. I always tell people that they're very skeptical. I'm like, do you even know who created the internet? But you're using it. They don't know who the creator of internet was. And they also don't know that it was a free gift to them. The creator of internet didn't charge us for the internet, but the government is charging us for something that was given to the government for free. Yep. Do you see what I'm saying? So doesn't matter who created the Bitcoin network and Bitcoin and blockchain, doesn't matter. What matters is this thing is going to work the same way that your internet is working. It's a layer that you could do things off, normal way of doing it. You used to write the letter to each other. Now you write emails to each other. And it's funny because when emails, got created and got introduced to people, they were like so skeptical and nobody believed that it's going to be the future, but it is now. And so the second layer on the internet that you got it for free, let's say if the guy who created internet would have charged us for, it would have been another story of Bitcoin. Like, what is it? We're not going to use it. Well, you are using it now. It's a huge part of your life, and Bitcoin is going to be a huge part of your life either. It's the same thing, just another layer on top of that. It's a technology that is advancing every day in our lives, and the more you become, you more flexible you become, the more understanding and welcoming of this new technologies you become, the easier and the faster for you to get on the path of wealth and abundance and easier life. It is the culture. It is, the problem is in our culture, we're looking at everything, how it happened, the way it happened in the past. We're not understanding things are changing. I always tell people, if you look at TikTok is like Japan. Japan has always been 10 years ahead of us and ahead of everybody's, all the other countries. TikTok is the same. I always tell people, look at TikTok's economy. When they gift each other, it's going to be, it's not, there's no currency in there. It's like roses and I don't know, lion and dragon and some value, currency value is pegged to a gift, to a shape that you look at, right? That is and you call the coin. So you send those coins to each other already. This is already happening in different part of the world, and that the next generation is already on it, making so much money. But in this, between these two, the generation, this generation that is already understanding and the generation before them, is this gap that it has to close up. We got to understand this has already, Bitcoin has already changed the world. Blockchain has already changed the way we look at everything, the way we look at asset. Like when people are talking about NFTs, like that they don't understand it, I'm like, why? How come you don't understand it? It's pegging some sort of a value in a form of currency to a thing. That's what NFT is, and that thing could be anything. So that's what that's the problem that we have right now, is for people to understand that this isn't a gamble. What you're doing with your life for not understanding and not educating yourself, that's the gamble. And you've been so brainwashed by the people who totally believe that. Like while Jamie Dimon was telling people that this thing is a poison and Bitcoin is poison, it's gambling, they were buying it behind the scene. They were buying it in their firms behind the scene. So and I just don't understand how many times we're gonna have to be lied to understand people that you're tuning in are not your friends. They are the enemy, and they want to have the power for themselves. So the best trick that you can have is to just follow and believe the opposite of what they tell you in mainstream media. Everything they tell you is a lie. So if you just look at the 100 degrees the opposite way, that will be the truth. So if they tell you that Bitcoin is a gamble, trust me, they are buying it in their firms. They are heavily loading on, seriously, every day on it, because they want to own it. Because let's say the more you own, this is the part that really hurts me the most. Bitcoin was a creation to bring people all around the world together, just simply by participating a little bit into it. They could just all come together and own their future and own the money and be the power that they're supposed to be. But what hurts me the most is the people in power are using the system to create a bigger gap between themselves and everyday people. That is really hurting me, because that was not the reason and that the Bitcoin was created. And unfortunately, by people not educating themselves, they're allowing those 1%ers to remain in power once we move completely to Bitcoin standard. But the only way we can prevent it, which I'm doing everything I can in my power to bring in more people to just be wealthy, have a voice and have some power in the future, instead of keep going with the same system, because the way things are going, if they own most of Bitcoins, in the end, the wealth gap that we're going to end up with going to be way bigger than ever before. Because once the ETF is out, if they own most part of it, they're going to be, the gap between their wealth and the rest will be way bigger than ever before. And I just encourage everybody to just be skeptical. I don't care. Whatever the fuck you want to do, just contribute a little bit. Just be a part of this thing. Just jump in. Have just $50, $100, anything that you can have to just be a part of it, so you can grow, so you can have a voice later in the future. Once we got to that point, it would be the best thing to do. That's the only thing that I think every day about that, and I'm worried about.
Well, just to echo what everyone in the chat is saying, they're like, bring her back on, Nanya. Appreciate it. And it's just very interesting how having everyday people just talk about Bitcoin and exposing how they became Bitcoiners, I think it's a very powerful message to, you know, like my friends and my parents out there that are just like, oh, you know, Opti is a black sheep. He's always been outside the Overton window. Like, I'm not going to really believe him. But when I bring on people like yourself that, you know, like, I'm sure if my mom sat here and had this conversation with you, you guys would be like, she doesn't know as much about Bitcoin as I do, but like, she sounds exactly like you all the time when I talk to her. And she's like, yeah, this is the future. It's so obvious. And so, you know, kudos to you, Nanya. I'm sure we could do this for a long, long time. So we'll have to bring you back on. Everyone says more of her. She's spitting bars. So we'll have to schedule you again to come on another time and continue this conversation. Well, guys, on that note, let's end this on the lighthearted meme review. Here we go.
The Daily Meme Review.
All right, guys, you know the deal. This is the meme review where you tag me on Twitter at simplybitcointv. It's a perfect meme to start it off on.
This is so good. This is my new favorite meme. This is my new favorite meme.
I didn't even plan it this well. It just happens this way. This is how good I am at my job. Anyways, guys, also drop them in our Telegram group, t.me/simplybitcointv. We have over 1,000 people that hang in there all the time. They'll answer your questions. We got Darth Mod in there, making sure that things are staying, you know, eloquent and on point. So shouts out to Darth. And guys, just keep sending me memes. Tag me on Twitter, drop them in our Telegram group. I even have a Nostr one here, guys. So I'm figuring out ways to give you guys credit for your memes, but you already know the deal. Tweets are the bullets, memes are the artillery. We are in an information war. Continue to ridicule the corporate press. Continue to get the calls of actions out there. Continue to make the funnies so your friends and family know why we do what we do. Okay. First meme is by the legendary BTC Sessions, and he's just quoting that video that I played earlier of Nika saying, they're straight up telling you to not believe you are getting poor. And we got a picture here of Paris Hilton and Ben, aka BTC Sessions, just put on her t-shirt, stop believing you're poor. And, you know, Paris Hilton doing, I don't even remember. She's like at a party here or something. I don't know. But
the worst part is like that original meme. So she's wearing a shirt that supposedly says stop being poor. And
I remember.
That in itself is a meme because she never wore a shirt that said that. That was like superimposed on her. This is like chef's kiss.
All right. Sessions killing it. All right, next meme is by Greg Zaj1. Shouts out to Greg, and he goes, "Good morning. Don't keep your coins on exchanges." And we got a hand here on a mouse. And then we got another hand on top of the hand on the mouse. And the hand guiding the mouse, or the first hand, is the three-letter agencies. And you just using your mouse is Bitcoin on-ramps and centralized services. Guys, you need to take your Bitcoin off exchanges. Maybe if you're concerned about this, you find ways to get paid in Bitcoin. You find ways to get non-KYC Bitcoin. Either way, you cannot leave your Bitcoin on exchanges. It is not your Bitcoin, not your keys, not your Bitcoin. Next one, shout out to my boy Andres. He's in the chat at Son of Stats on Twitter. And he goes, at Simply Bitcoin TV, the government help in one picture. Opting out is about survival. Bitcoin is the sword to fight the demons who swear to quote unquote protect and serve. And we got, some stick figure guys here, and it goes licensing fee, and we got income tax punching you in the face while you're on the ground, and then we have property taxes kicking you, and then we have sales tax about to join the fun and jump you more. And it goes how government quote unquote helps people. They literally beat you up and steal your property. This is the way. All right, next one is by Brian DeMint. Shouts out to Brian DeMint from Orange Pill app. And he goes, most people don't understand the magnitude of slowly then suddenly. Here's a graphic to help those people. And he goes, what slowly then suddenly looks like. And we have the German mark to US dollar ratio. In 1914, it was 4.2 to $1. In 1919, it was 8.9 to $1. And then in 1923, it was what? 100,000 million billion trillion, 4.2 trillion to $1. Absolutely incredible. And this next, the Bitcoin side though, Brian, I feel like we need to up this, and it still doesn't make the point. We'll do that. We'll rehash this meme when we get to 6-figure/7 figures Bitcoin. But anyway, 2014, $1 equals $757 price Bitcoin. In 2019, $1 equaled $13,889 per Bitcoin. In 2023, $1 equals to the same a Bitcoin ratio of $38,100. And it's only going up, guys. It is going up forever. This last one, shouts out to Dom Bay, aka at Baywatch1 on Twitter. And he goes, Ace Ventura out here stacking sats like a madman. Bitcoin short-term pains for long-term gains. And yes, that includes leveling up on your self-custody. And we have this picture here of Jim Carrey, and he goes, if you're not willing to downgrade your lifestyle for a year to have a lifestyle you want forever, you care too much about what other people think. Absolutely love it. And this last one, shouts out to Corn DeLorean. This is on Nostr. This is a primal.net link that I got from our Telegram group. And it goes, he's quote tweeting here, says, to counteract this, let's have a competition about who can talk about Bitcoin the most from now until December 31st. And we have this elephant here, and it goes, me with, actually I had it here with, and it's putting its snout on a girl's face, and it goes, you need to stop talking about Bitcoin so much. It's like, no, we talk about Bitcoin more and more. And if you tell me to stop talking about Bitcoin, I will probably talk about it more. Anyways, guys, drop your meme review score in the chat as we cover ours live. And I will cover it live as well. Okay, guys, my meme review score is, this is a very illustrious meme review score here. It's this limited edition Post Malone Raising Cane's cup. I did not buy this before you guys tell me I'm wasting sats on this, but yeah, I'm in Texas. Post Malone has a Raising Cane's, his own Raising Cane's theme one. So here we go. Anyways, so what's your meme review score?
My meme review score is my favorite water bottle on the market. No, it's not that other one that's really famous. It's invisible. Exactly. No, it's a Corksicle. Initially I used this to keep rosé cold, but now I use it to keep my water cold because I'm pregnant and I can't drink.
Wait, it's made out of quartz? What's quartz?
No, it's made out of, it's made for wine, like, to keep it cold, but now I just use it as a water bottle.
Okay. Health as well. Okay, Nanya, what's your meme review score for today?
Well, the only thing that I have here is my mug.
Perfect. Right,
hey, you're matching your mug.
Everything in my life is matching. Everything, my car, my clothes, my furniture. Like, I love this. I'm blue and white. So cheers.
I love that. That is beautiful. So aesthetically pleasing, honestly.
Perfect score. Okay, guys, before I get to your meme scores, Wine would yell at me if I didn't plug the merch. Guys, help support us. We appreciate all the support. You guys can watch this show for free. It will always stay free. But if you love what we're doing, scan the QR code, get yourself a shirt, get yourself a hoodie. I have the hats in the work, Matthew. Before you start to troll me, we are in contact with a Bitcoin artist to make a special Simply Bitcoin shirt for you. Sophie's in the works of getting you guys some women cuts so they're more flattering. You guys told me you want your own coffee mug, so I'll make sure I get all this going for you guys. This has just been a proof of concept. Scan the QR code. It helps us out a bunch. We really appreciate all the support. Of course, stack sats first, and then stack Simply Bitcoin merch second. Okay, guys, so here we go. There are some scores that hit the chat, so let me scroll up real quick, and let's pull these up. Okay, first score is by the P-Man Van. He goes, meme score, 3 micheladas and 4 mezcal shots on a beach while not being poor. Yes, this is the way. Okay, next one is by Roman, aka StackSat Show. And he goes, score, you don't know who invented memes, but you still use them. Okay, next meme is by, or meme review score is by Elaine Lowell. And she goes, score, ladies of Bitcoin, Sophie and Lenya SP bring more women into Bitcoin, which means more men and children embrace financial freedom. Winning. Okay, Rave Elevator. I scored the memes meeting Max Kaiser and Stacy in Charlotte, North Carolina last Sunday. Love it. Okay, Hammer Saw. I give these memes American Revolution Part 2. Love it. Philip Rizzo, I give the memes 21 million fired up nunyas to spread the Bitcoin message. Let's go. Okay. Let's see if we got any on Rumble. No. Okay. All right. We didn't run out of meme scores. The buzzer hit.
Oh, wait.
Wow. Oh my God. Okay. You don't have to answer this, but Son of Satoshi, aka Andres, says meme score. Is the guest simply single? Question mark. Oh man. Jeez. Thirsty in the chat. Buzzer for you. Buzzer for you. All right, guys. Well, so first and foremost, appreciate you filling in. I guess you're going to be filling in more often because people like the accent. So thank you for showing up. Soph, we will see you on the YouTube timelines. Guys, make sure you are checking in on Sophie's shorts, and I will be helping her make some shorts soon. So you already know the deal. We are giving you guys content in all of its forms. Sophie, appreciate it. Have a good rest of your day.
Have a good one, guys. Thanks for tuning in. See ya. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's
so
go.
much. Bye.
Okay, Nunya, really appreciate it. We'll have to schedule you to come on again. In the meantime, where can people find you? Are you on Twitter? Are you on social medias? Or will they just have to wait for the next Simply Bitcoin?
Yeah, they just have to. I am on everywhere, but I just kind of do my own thing, and I don't want to mix things together. So I'm just going to stay anonymous everywhere.
All
But
right.
I'm going to be on your show.
Appreciate it. All right. Well, really appreciate you coming on today. I think that was a powerful message, and hopefully we can do our part to orange pill more and more people. So spread the good word. Really appreciate it, and have a good rest of your day.
You too. Thanks for having me.
No worries. All right, guys, you already know the deal. Like, subscribe, share, spread the Bitcoin signal, not just Simply Bitcoin, all Bitcoin signal. Maybe today's culture will help your family become Bitcoiners. Who knows? Anyways, we'll be back tomorrow for our regular show. Nico will be back. He's been at the Bitcoin mining conference, or one of the big mining future conference, I think it was called. And we'll be back for our normal show, guys. Really appreciate it. We'll see you guys on the timeline. We'll see you tomorrow on YouTube. But of course, don't sleep on our channel. We're dropping all kinds of content. We really appreciate you guys. And until next time, get your mind right, get your body right, get your finances right. This is the way. This is how we win. Peace out.